G'day. I'm going to open this now. This is six hair pieces. Advertised for $699 with the coupon code stick on hair. You get them for $559. That's a saving of $140. Each of these bags comes with 3 of these, and that included delivery, by the way. So they each come in a hairnet. With a plastic mould that they're stuck to, and they are 0.03mm poly. And I'm going to put my stencil on this and then cut it out. So I'm going back to poly. What I'm wearing at the moment is lace, French lace. And in the current temperature, which I'd say is about 15 degrees, it's comfortable. There is absolutely no problem with French lace, except for the residual glue that's still sticking out from earlier. The glue I use is Walker Tape Ultra Hold. Other people recommend Ghost Bond XL, but I have limited patience for making this work. When applying the glue, you have to have a cold room. A bathroom facing the sun on a hot day acts a bit like a greenhouse. My air conditioner is in another room and it doesn't come around, so I've got to keep going out there and getting blasted with cold air so I'm not sweating. I'm a big sweater while I apply the glue and everything. So French lace becomes unstuck when it's hot, and it's got such a thick lace profile that you can feel the bump there and you can feel the bump there. So it naturally kind of gets snagged on things, and as I just do that lightly, you can see it's already peeling back, and I've got to keep re-gluing it down. And then the glue melts and it gets exposed, and I pick away at it like this. Then I've got to apply more glue. This Walker Tape Ultra Hold will melt in heat, but my reasoning is that when it's underneath this, it won't be visible, because lace is kind of jaggedy at the front, whereas that is really quite a straight line. And also, when you're gluing your head rather than the plastic, you're going to be inaccurate. So if there is ever a situation where I've got to peel this back along the front hairline, I would glue exactly onto the glue and then just wait a few minutes so that there's no chance of any just squishiness, and so it will just dry quicker. And then I just press it back down and it will be perfect. Perfectly aligned to the edge of the base. But with this, I've got to glue along my head, make sure it doesn't touch that, otherwise the glue is going to penetrate up and create blotches on the top surface, because with lace, glue goes through, obviously, so it's a lot more finicky. And I think with all the melting of the glue that's going to happen in summertime, that is going to be much less of a problem. And my hairpieces are only that big. If your hairpiece is this big, for example, I don't know what would happen with the heat of the sun just totally being held in by the plastic. This breathes, and even though there's a thin layer of glue, the glue isn't stopping heat from escaping. Heat can still, by the laws of thermodynamics, pass through the glue and out through the lace. But imagine wearing a raincoat on a hot day. It would just, you'd be sweating like crazy. There is something called Walker Tape Max Hold Sport, which you can apply to your scalp before applying the glue. So you'd use that, then that, or that, then that, and it would block your pores, and then the glue would be on top of that. So the glue, the sweat wouldn't be allowed to escape. But not letting sweat escape, that can't be too much of a good idea, right? I mean, when you use deodorant or something on your armpits, it's not exactly putting over a sheet of plastic there. You can still breathe. I mean, imagine how hot your armpits would get if it was just coated in something like plastic. So imagine that, plus that over your head 24 hours a day. That could potentially cause heat stroke and just real irritation and potentially death. I don't know. I'm willing to risk it, given that mine is this big in what's going to be a hot summer. I tried to memorize the Fahrenheit language, but I can't remember it. But it gets to 42 degrees here in Melbourne in summertime. That is sickeningly hot. So, it may come to pass that I will have to put pinholes in there so that at least heat can vent out. Holes so small that I'd use a pin. I wouldn't do something crazy and pierce it with some scissors or something larger than that. It'd be like a pin, right? It would be like one of these prongs that size, something like that, and just do that randomly. So probably the glue will seal over it, but the plastic won't hold in the heat completely. I don't know exactly how that's going to work, but so my concern is not about the glue or the sweat not being able to come out as much as it is that the heat from my head won't be able to come out. And I've heard that you lose a lot of heat from your head in cold climates, and you should wear a beanie. It's very important. It's not like you'd walk around naked with a beanie and be okay, but a lot of your heat escapes from your head, which is good in summer. You want heat to escape from yourself, right? You want to refrigerate yourself with sweat and heat release, because otherwise you'll die. So I might need to put pins in there to act as little chimneys, but we'll see how it goes. During the times that the hairpiece is on and it's really hot, and I've potentially got this on, but this glue has melted, and I think it melts at about 25 degrees. And it starts to liquefy. I mean, even now you can see, if the camera's good enough, it's starting to go shiny, see? See, I have full access to touching it at all times while I'm wearing lace. It's always there to be touched. With the poly, you don't have access to this front hairline. And the reason I'm going to poly is because of this front hairline. So potentially if I could get a lace hairpiece all the way to there and then poly along there, it could be the best solution for breathability. So if you have a full cap, you could do that, but if you've seen any of my previous videos, you'll know that I can get 3 out of that. So they can't be made custom for me, unless I want to pay big bucks, whereas I bought all of that for $560, all 6 of them. That's 18 hair pieces for me, my size, for $560. That's gonna last a long time. And if you ever have problems with knots not being bleached well enough, because you've got anything darker than blonde, it's a common problem. I don't think there is any hair company that is making 100% perfectly bleached knots unless they've started with blonde hair, which would just be astronomical to pay Swedish people to sell their hair rather than Indians or Chinese people to sell their hair, because just the population is crazy. Like, they can just sell their hair. They're not asking a lot of money, and so they can afford to make the hair pieces so that bald people can wear their hair. But buying it from the low population countries of Scandinavia or something like that, those people would charge a lot, and they'd probably get good money for a blonde wig or something rather than mass-produced hair pieces. Because if the hair was blonde, then the knots wouldn't need to be bleached. They would simply need to dye the rest of the hair your colour and keep it blonde. There is another way probably. They could probably bleach Indian or Chinese hair completely blonde all over, which would make the hair thinner probably, because peroxide would strip the melanin or whatever it is in hair out of it, which would make it more manageable. But it would be like little baby hairs all over the place instead of thick, coarse hairs like adults have. So it could be nice to have that kind of system. I don't know how it would look, but if they did do that, then they could tie the knots to the lace while it was all blonde, and then make sure that they don't bleach any of the, make sure they don't dye any of the roots, which is, you know, there's got to be a system where they can do that easily enough. Or they could, instead of, I don't know what system they're using to bleach the knots now, but the thing is, it seems like they cannot, they've never been able to fully succeed in creating a totally seamless bleaching of the knots in any hair piece I've ever seen. This one's good enough, otherwise I wouldn't be wearing it. But it's never perfect. With the V-loops here, I don't even know why I'm doing this. I'm probably gonna, I don't know why I'm starting to repair this. It's just that I keep thinking I'll probably keep it on for a while. And I could, but I intend to wear one of the pieces I'm about to make from that poly later this afternoon. So with the poly, the V-loops don't have any bleaching at all. It'll be hard for you to see, but I won't be just cutting these stencils out and then they'll be ready to go. What I do is I add that to that. Okay. That's just any peroxide you can buy from the shops. I think this was $9 from eBay, so I got 6 of them or something. And you have to use it all in one go. So I'm going to cut out 18 of those hair pieces, and then I'm going to apply the bleach to just the front edge. Just the front edge. There's no, because what you get is a squeeze bottle. That's for teeth. But I don't use this anyway. This was from my mum. She came over. I got mine done for $700 professionally. It fucking hurts, man. It's the most pain I've ever been in my whole life. At the dentist, where they put blue light on it and they put this acid or something, it's crazy. So what I'll do is, when I've cut them all out, obviously I am unable to hold this in a proper position with only 2 hands. I'd need about 6 hands, 2 people to hold it, another person to hold the hair back, and then somebody will pretend to be a table. Otherwise, I'd have to set up a table. I can't be bothered. I don't love you enough, I'm sorry. And then I will just go like that, while squeezing, along the front hairline only. And I'll do that 18 times. So it'll end up being similar to this. And I'm not going to do it while it's on my head because it can burn like crazy. I'll just do it in advance. And I'll go in deep, I'll go in about 1 centimetre. That's what a centimetre is for those of you who speak in feet and ounces and fucking Fahrenheit and old man shit. And then it goes in about 1 centimetre, and it'll probably end up being about that much up. So it'll probably end up being about 1 centimetre high and 1 centimetre deep. So with the hair down would be like, I just pull the hairs back while it's on the table and just do that all the way along the front. Leave it for about 45 minutes, or maybe 15 minutes, I can't remember exactly. I'll do another test when the time comes. And then that will become streamlined. It won't just stop blonde and then go brown, which is this color. This is medium dark brown, by the way. It'll transition from light into dark, just nicely, in a way that it looks like it's coming out of my forehead, rather than stark V's, which don't look realistic at all. It'll look like a wall of hair if I just use that by default. Really, they should do this for us. If they did this in all the roots in the poly, it'd be ready to go every time. But because they don't, you've got to do it yourself. You've got to add hair dye, peroxide, to the roots, at least to the front. It doesn't matter about doing it all the way in there, because as you can see, I'll see if you can see my thumb sticking through. You see? That's what it'll look like all over the rest of the head. But the thing that always has to be done carefully is the hairline. Otherwise you've got to wear your hair forward all the time, like that. The other thing I think poly will achieve for me is, because it's not tied in with strings, like with knots, it just V-loops like that all over the place, which I must tell you, do not hold very strongly. You pull one of those knots and it'll all flip out. It'll just, I don't really want to waste one, but look. If I just pull on any hair, that hair. See what just happened? That's an unusually shaped hair. I wasn't expecting a curly hair to come out. I must have foiled it or something as it pulled out. Normally it would just come out as a long piece like that, with a bit of a bend right in the middle. But as you saw, it just came out. Whereas I try to pull on a hair from this French lace here, I would have to break it, because the knot is not going to unwind itself. See, this is this hair. It just punked out. I just pointed it out. I can't control the camera. That's the best view you can get. So, with lace, you're going to have knots, and they're not going to pull out. They'll just degrade over time and it'll become frizzy or whatever. But really, the hair seems to remain fine forever with lace. But the front hairline, with the glue becoming exposed and all the maintenance you've got to do, the maintenance on this for the front hairline, because of the melting glue, is probably 100 times more than the maintenance on a poly unit. You just got to be careful with the poly not to pull V-loops out. But once you put it on, it's basically finished for the duration of the time you're going to wear it. There'll be some occasional hairs that'll stick right there where the plastic line goes, and you just have to do that in about 2 or 3 places. because right along the very front 0.03 millimeters, there'll be some glue that is exactly in alignment with your forehead, and on that little bit there, along that edge, things can stick. But with this, you've got maybe 2 or 3 millimeters exposed, not 0.03 millimeters, 2 or 3 millimeters exposed glue. And it puffs out because it's exposed to water in the shower, and it becomes all cloggy and unstuck again when it gets exposed to water. By the way, the glue doesn't get wet when you're wearing this. Which also brings me to the point that if I did put holes in this with a pin or a needle or something, I'd make them small enough so it can't fill up with water in the shower and just create a bubbly water pocket and then just volcano it out every hole so the water empties itself. No, the holes would be small enough and the water wouldn't go in there and create little water bubbles in your head that you're walking around with all the time. Why is my head blubbling every time I walk? Yeah, hopefully I won't need to make the chimneys like I talked about. Hopefully I just won't get that hot. And also, if you do dunk your head in water while you're wearing this, it'll be better for you because you'll be cooling your head down. It'll harden the glue. It'll make the glue work better. So going for a swim or diving headfirst into a pool or skydiving, which I might do in a future upcoming video, hopefully. It's scary to do that, but it's more scary to bungee jump though, I found, actually. But bungee jumping is a good mixture between air flowing right back. See, I wouldn't trust this, unless this was just applied immediately, the French lace, I wouldn't trust this to just skydive or bungee jump, or unless it's just been done that same day and your head is not extremely hot, it would probably peel back a bit, like almost probably that much, or maybe even, you may imagine the wind at 9.81 meters per second, that is going to start becoming peeled back. But that has got a 0.03 millimeters. That's got to be about, I don't know, I haven't got any tools to measure the thickness of lace, French lace here, but it's got to be, I don't know, 1 millimeter, which is 30 times thicker than that, maybe. And Swiss lace, I've got some samples in the other room, but it doesn't matter, you can just imagine, is probably half this thickness and more brittle. So with lace, that's about as strong as you can get without looking like you're fucking a robot or a doll or something. But it can't compete with plastic, because plastic's been, well, it's used for everything in the world. Which makes me think, why don't they just mass produce hair pieces that are made out of plastic? I mean, I think they do make wigs that are made out of plastic, but there's, look at that. 100% human hair. Hair is fine. But with plastic you can make, I wouldn't mind wearing plastic. In fact, to some people it might be less disgusting, maybe, to be wearing something that was just made in a factory rather than cut off somebody else's head and now you're wearing it. Because there's not really anything else that I wear that's made out of humans. This is made out of cotton, which grows in a field. Most people are okay with that. I don't know where the ink comes from. Hopefully not a squid. I don't really like wearing animal products if I can help it. The shorts are probably cotton. The belt is probably cotton, and there's some metal, which was mined out of the earth. Just, there's nothing in here that either didn't come from my body or something else that's not a human. Like, I don't really think I've got any, like, door handles that are made out of human bones or something, right? You know what I mean? There's not really much stuff that I buy, oh, this comes from the finest human. No, there's no human products that I really wear or eat or buy or anything that come from another human. Even lube. Yeah, I don't know how long, you'd have to refrigerate it, wouldn't you? This is human. I wear other people. And if you wear hair, you probably do as well. But once you get over the disgustingness of it, I mean, the humans aren't missing it. They weren't murdered to get the hair off them, like a duck is murdered probably to get the feathers off it. I hope that they don't pluck an animal while it's still alive. If I found out about that, I might have to go and kill that person who's doing that, or those people, by skinning them alive. That would be fair, wouldn't it? But only if they've only plucked one duck like that. If they've plucked 2 ducks, I'd have to skin them and their family member. If there's 100, I'd have to go through the phone book and find out who they're related to, maybe just start peeling skin off their entire village. No. Still, there's got to be a penalty for that sort of disgusting fucking slavery, first of all, of animals, and mass murder of a lesser race. Like even the word nigger, saying that word out loud, I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not enslaving black people. I'm part black in terms of my heritage anyway. I'm just like, it's a fucking word. What's the worst damage it can do right now in context here compared to somebody who fucking like devours flesh or wears animals, which is hard to avoid in this fucking crazy world, but still, you cannot escape the logic that hurting somebody physically, a sentient being physically, is worse than saying, you're a different colour. Don't you think? Now I know that you can have somebody hurt your feelings so much that it's like somebody just to the back of your head constantly for years, and then you should just kill that person. It's like a mosquito that you think, I don't want to hurt animals, it's biting you and just right? You would be nobody's going to hurt you or harm you or even disagree with you probably, except maybe Jainists, if you hurt that mosquito. And you're not going to give it a little smack, are you? Don't do that anymore. I hope you've learned your lesson. You're going to kill the mosquito. So if somebody's torturing you emotionally through neglect or through deliberate acts of maliciousness or through selfishness that affects you and they know about it because you've told them or you've gestured that this is fucking hurting me, you fucking prick, stop what you fucking do and I'll fucking take you down the Chinatown, you motherfucker, you. And they don't stop, then I think it's okay to kill them because they're torturing you deliberately and there's no other way to stop them from hurting you. Or you could just torture them back in such a way that they can't torture you anymore. Plus it alleviates your pain and gives you that feeling of, oh, thank God it's not me, and I'm glad I'm seeing revenge now. That's why people are so happy when the guy gets sentenced to 20 years for raping their daughter in prison. Because they were going to get the machete and just hack the bastard to pieces, right? But instead, we've got a system where the government issues penalties for you so you don't go out and be a vigilante and fuck people up by skinning them for hurting animals and shit like that. That's why you gotta do it on the sly. Anyway, it is human hair. Just stick it on your head. Shut the fuck up. So I'm gonna be making 18 hair pieces out of that, which cost me $559 with the coupon code StickOnHair at lordhair.com. Divide that by 560 by 18. Be able to learn anyone. I'm just going to divide it by 20. Okay, let's see what it is. 560 divided by 10 is 56. Divided by 2 is 28. So my hair pieces cost $28 each. But if we subtract delivery, which I didn't pay for, we just came with it, it's part of the deal, express from China, that's, let's just say it was $25 per hair piece. I'll get 18 hair pieces, 25 bucks each. And I could reuse them, but I just, you know, if you watch any of my other videos before this, I just chuck them out. I never reuse a hair piece, ever. $25 is going to give me 2 weeks. I'll do it from your standpoint. If you have a full cap, like you need the whole thing, I'd say this would have cost you, let's see, 560 divided by 6. Fuck me. 560 divided by 6. Let's just say 600 divided by 6. Okay? That's $100 per hairpiece each. Then subtract some more money. It's with delivery, it could be like 70 bucks, 80 bucks per hairpiece. You might want to look after it because spending $35 a week if it lasts you 2 weeks, or if you get 3 weeks out of it because you're really careful with the lips or whatever, or spend a month on it. If you wear it for a month or 3 weeks or something, then you might go, yeah, well, fuck it, 70 bucks, don't worry, just keep doing that for the rest of my life, no problem. I can come up with $10 a day for a full head of hair. Or I can come up with, like if it's 2 weeks, $5 a day for a full head of hair. I won't have that coffee today, but I will wear hair. So that's that. Okay? So I might just post this video. I'm not gonna show you me cutting out hair pieces again for hours and doing all this shit. I'll just show you me talking because I love the sound of my own voice. What was that symbol? I think that would be like a diamond shaped. That's the way phones are gonna be shaped in the future, and you just have to get used to everyone doing that. Think about this. You know when we're gonna be wearing like a little eyepiece or something, or have a contact lens? Are we still only hearing people? Or is there some way to have like a drone following us and just filming us so you can see our faces in real time while we talk? Or is there going to be some sort of echolocation going boom, 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 scanning our face shape in real time in 3 dimensions from something that we're wearing here or something like that, so that it can transmit, so that when we look through our and we're like looking at the stadium of all of our memories and fucking internet information that we want to find, and the person we're talking to, or the conference call, we can have it in 3 dimensions with their entire bodies showing in real time what they're doing. Would that be like more of a sonar kind of thing, scanning instead of a camera type setup? And it just kind of, by texture and vibration, it detects colors and shit as well? Because I think color is actually determined by shape, isn't it? Therefore, if it was fine enough detail, then the color of my hair and skin and teeth and guts and everything, hopefully they won't be looking down my pants, you motherfucker, you. Alright, I think I've covered it. I'm gonna go back in there and get back to fucking work. Because I've got about, how long is it gonna take for me to cut out 18 of these? I might just cut out 9 of them. That's 3 hair pieces. That'll be probably an hour and a half. See ya.